Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. And today, I'm continuing my Disney movie marathon because I'm going to be reviewing Cinderella 2, Dreams Come True, which is a sequel that came out in 2002. So, it is a direct sequel to the original Cinderella, which came out in 1950. So this film came out 52 years later. What? This is so stupid. I don't want to talk about it. Huh? Oh, okay. Some bribe money, okay. Okay, man. Here, I'll give you a little piece of pie. Okay, so got a lot of money. Got like, yeah, $300 right now. I guess I will review this movie. Well, I guess get myself a drink. Yep. Something. Yep. Got myself some drink. Well, the thing is, this ain't gonna cut it. One moment, folks. Oh. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Since we're dealing with a certain level of bad, I need this drink. Oh, Lord Jesus, have mercy on my soul. Well, I guess as usual, let's just talk about the story of this film. If you want to call this a story, the lack of it.
The story, I guess you can say the lack of it, is more of a episode kind of a thing that's being presented in movie form, which in itself is pretty bad. It's been told by these mice about Cinderella. So in the royal palace, Cinderella's mice, Gus, his friend, head to a chamber where the fairy godmother is reading the story of Cinderella to the other mice. So they start talking about Cinderella and whatnot. Much to their disappointment, Gus and his friend arrive just as she finished the story. With her help, the mice set off to make a new book to narrate what happens after the happily ever after, by stringing 3 segments of stories together into one narrative. Because, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, there's 3 stories here going on simultaneously. Aim to Please is the first one, where we get to see Cinderella and Prince Charming return to their place from their honeymoon, and we get to see that Cinderella reunites with her mice and their dog. She is later put in charge of the palace and parties and whatnot, while the king and Prince Charming are away. Then, of course, we get to see the second story called Tall Tale. You see, one of the mice thinks he's too smart to help Cinderella in the palace like he did in the very first film. So yeah, the first movie gets referenced to like it did in the first story. So in the second story, it gets a reference to the first film again. So the fairy godmother appears to help him out, because of reasons, I guess. So, and turns him into a human, 6 times taller than his height as a mouse, so he can help out everyone else.
That's not fair.
And so, which is kind of weird because nobody ever questions. If Cinderella's godmother can do this, then why did she ever did it before? Weird. So yeah, we're already off to some plot holes already. But anyway, then for the third story, there's this one called Uncommon Romance. So we get to see one of Eva's stepsisters, Anastasia, one of Cinderella's stepsisters, fall in love with a kind but common baker. Because, I don't know. So, which her mother, which is Cinderella's stepmother, and older sister, disapprove of this. Why? I don't know. Maybe the mother's just an old hag, and for the other sister could be just a kiss ass, I guess. I don't know. So they, of course, they want to make them miserable, whatever, and whatnot. And that's basically Cinderella 2, folks. Well, yeah, a bad romantic love life. I should be the one to talk because, boy, What was I drinking? What was going on? She's so ugly.
Ah, it's Mr. Monkey. Again. Seriously. How many times do you have to come up into these videos? You know I'm not gonna buy you any of these god-awful movies. And this one is especially bad. It's one of the worst. Cinderella 2 does not need to be mentioned. Yeah, I'm making a review about it. Hey, go and get. Seriously, get out of here. Come on, leave me alone for once, will you? You need to get a life. You know what? I need to fix this problem. I know how to fix this problem again. Just like I did before. Just give me a moment, folks. I do have a solution here. So here we go. Just one moment, folks. I'll be right back. Yes, sirree. I see you there. Just come closer to the camera. Yeah, come closer. I got a present for you, Mr. Monkey. Yeah, come here. Hey, come here. Hey. Hey, dude. Yeah, come over here. Just come closer. Come closer. Yeah. I'm here, will ya? Haha.
There's nothing in here I like, folks. And one of the first problems I have with this film is, of course, the story. Well, the lack of there. But the animation, yeah, it looks pretty bad. You could tell it's drastically changed from the original Cinderella film. The animation itself is pretty plain, and the overall art style here is greatly less detailed. It's not as detailed. I understand this is a direct-to-video animation, which makes no sense, because why would have a direct-to-video film when the first movie was released in theaters? So the marketing for this again makes no sense, just like the plot. So the premise is just lackluster, and the animation is horrendous. Everything just came out flat. It managed to be even worse than the Cinderella remake that came out in 2015. How did you even manage to do that? Oh, come on. This makes no sense at all. Cinderella 2 is definitely not worth your time. The voice acting is pretty bad. I really thought the voice acting was pretty bad. Cinderella 2, in comparison, has always been considered to be one of the very worst what Disney could offer. So when it comes to cheaply made sequels, and yes, you can't tell. I would definitely mark this one as a sequel they should definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, avoid at all costs. I found very little magic in this film, or next to nothing at all. So there's no real good treatment in this story at all. So I don't know, folks. It just really makes no sense as a whole. So they could, yes, they could have had something. Maybe it would have worked better as a TV series, maybe, I guess. But just the way it was done, it's just ridiculous. Maybe it was intended for a TV series. I do have a strong hunch that this was intended for a TV series, like a promo kind of a thing. But they just, maybe on the last possible minute, they just stitched everything together in the worst possible sloppiest way they can actually handle it. But anyway, as for the voice acting is nothing inspiring. It's pretty lackluster as well. The voice acting is pretty weak, which in itself is pretty shameful, because when you think about it, this is Disney. You know that Disney Studios are capable of doing much, much, much better than this, and they have. This is definitely one of the bottom of the barrel stuff. At the end of the day, what's going on within the film itself amounts to nothing. Absolutely nothing. So bottom line, what I'm trying to say here is the film itself is just small-minded and inconsequential to everything else about Cinderella, which is sad if you ask me. There's actually some professional voice acting individuals behind this movie, so you would have at least believed that the voice acting would have been, bearable, somewhat good. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. We didn't get none of that really in this film. It just came off, the people who were behind this film was just doing this just for a quick cash in. That's it. Just like the entire production of this movie, even call it that anyway, just came off like they were just doing it for the money. That's it. No one gave any ideas on how to voice act their characters and whatnot. So I just didn't like it at all, folks. I didn't like how they were delivering the characters. The dialogue was pretty bad. I guess you can say the dialogue is horrendous. just came off like it was just some fan fiction that was made into an animated movie. That was it. There's a fan fiction animated movie.
Alright, here we go. Alright.
Cinderella 2, Dreams Comes True, definitely is one of those most pointless, needless, worthless sequels I've ever laid my eyes across. That's a shame for me to say that because I like watching Disney. I really do. Just, I guess I regret watching this because there isn't really much worth watching here. As there really isn't really a movie per se to be spoke about here, folks. The money I spent here, I could have easily spent it on a lady of the night, if you know what I mean. Well, at least I could have got something out of that, I guess you can say. But not here. Nothing good anyway, because all I got was misery. Nothing but misery out of this movie. So it's just definitely one of those movies that just came off, like I said before. We got a 3-part television episode that's strung together to just make up for a roughly an hour animated screen time. So, well, if you don't count the 6-minute credit roll, the production background of this film is hard to pin up, really. But it's likely that the people would just want to just make a quick sequel, even though the film just came out during the 1950s. So there's a big gap between sequel release, one of the biggest anyway. So nothing here makes any sense really. I didn't like how nothing really happened at all. It was just boring, and it was painfully boring. Actually, I was either screaming in pain or dying of boredom. Not a good combination there, folks. So this adds nothing to the story really. What you see with the original Cinderella film, the sequel, Cinderella 2, Dreams Comes True, adds absolutely, positively nothing to what you already know about Cinderella. Which is a shame because when you think about it, when it comes to a sequel, the sequels are supposed to expand the story. It's supposed to expand the character development. It's supposed to expand whatever that was already done from the previous film, which was, of course, supposed to be the entire point of a sequel. It's supposed to be like the next chapter, so to speak. However, this film does nothing of that. And the thing is that, speaking of character development, it was quite literally nothing. I mean, zip, nothing, zero. There's literally no character development at all. The pictures, what you see here, see these pictures? You see these pictures here? All these pictures you see in this video? That's it. That's all you're gonna get when it comes to characters. This is it. It's about as shallow, as mundane as that. I know this is supposed to be a kids movie, but that doesn't excuse the laziness right here, folks. If anything, there's probably too much sweetness here. Yeah, so much sweetness that I actually got diabetes just from watching this movie. Yeah. It's just so soft, so gentle, so kind. That's basically the entire movie. There's too much sweetness. Way too much nice, I guess you can say. I know, it ain't for kids. But that should not excuse anything. That should not excuse the laziness in everything in this movie. Come on now. Do you realize not every kid is stupid? There are actually some kids out there that actually have brains in their head. So treat them like they're smart. And that's the problem I have with this movie too. It treats their kids like they're stupid. I mean, again, newsflash, not every kid is stupid. There are some kids out there that actually have some, intelligence in their heads. So, it would be nice if you actually have something worthwhile in its narrative, which it doesn't. So, the expressions of the characters, the facial expressions, again, just like I said before about the animation, is rather lackluster. So, yeah, there's nothing here that's impressive, really. So, I can just say that there's nothing here worthwhile at all. And I didn't like how it was done as a whole. And maybe if this each story was taken on its own episode as individual TV series parts or something, the stories probably would have played well enough to have its own thing going on. So again, I get the hunch that this is supposed to be a TV series at first.
So I'm talking about a movie where these little rats would tell stories about Cinderella. Yeah, so this is what my life has taken me so far. Yeah, this isn't depressing at all. Oy. Anyway,
Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True would definitely, without a doubt, be the sequel I will avoid at all costs. The music here, I thought was terrible. I did not like the music at all because the matter of the fact is, it's very generic. Very, very generic overall. Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True is a direct-to-sequel film of Cinderella, and but the thing is that it was made in 2001. Another gripe I have against this film is that the humor isn't very good. It tries to be funny, it tries to be lighthearted or whatever, but not even that works. Nothing here works at all. So, just felt that they were trying maybe too hard. Okay, maybe in this case, not hard enough overall. I didn't like the pacing. The pacing was painfully slow at times because it just comes off padded. So, I don't know what they were thinking when they were making this film. They could have easily made a sequel to the original Cinderella ages ago, but they just did until this point in time. And I can also say that none of the characters are likable. They're all one-dimensional. Even saying that is maybe a bit too much. So, this movie doesn't work in so many ways. There's so many levels that this film does not work at all. Not the way it should have been anyway. Yes, of course, they could have had something here, but it just felt rushed into production, which seems kind of odd because considering that it took so long to make. So now suddenly you want to speed into production into creating this sort of movie. Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True is probably one of the worst sequels I've ever seen, and along with the whole idea that this is probably one of the worst animated films ever made. One thing I would definitely say that this film was made during the height of Disney's sequel rampage, by which I mean, during a serious period of time, Disney was really obsessed with the idea of making sequel. Yeah, there's a Little Mermaid 3, there's a Little Mermaid 2, there's the Jungle Book 2, and so on and so forth. They made so many sequels, and it just became ridiculous. And of course, a sequel to Cinderella was eventually made, and this film was a total waste of time. There's nothing good I can say about this film at all. The character of Cinderella is nothing like Cinderella in the original film, along with the character of Prince Charming. Yeah, you don't really get a sense of the character at all, or Cinderella for that matter. So my point of the matter is that both of these characters just come off totally different in some respects from the original film, and I don't like the aspect. You don't have the same feel like they did. So in other words, what I'm trying to say here, Cinderella just became an empty shell of a former self, so to speak. So I know they're trying to play tribute to the original film, which in some ways could be a good thing, but in this film it just comes off like lazy. I mean, it's like it keeps reminding the viewer, hey look, it's a sequel to the original, 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 it's a sequel to the original. And that's about it. I know they're trying to have a story with that one sister character, the whole love thing. I guess they were trying to do more with these characters, I guess. Have more interactions with these characters. I guess they were trying to do more. But, again, whatever is going on in this movie amounts to nothing. Nothing here matters. The entire story don't matter. The 3 mini-stories don't matter. What they're talking about don't matter. So what I'm saying here, quite literally nothing matters in here. And not just the whole thing with the mouse turning to a human like you see in the picture here. With that like lovey-dovey or whatever's going on, like whatever he's trying to accomplish here. He's trying to be like a a helper or whatever. Which seems nice, you'd think that would be a good thing. But again, like I just said a moment ago, nothing in this film amounts to anything. Quite literally. I'm not stretching that, folks, I'm not exaggerating at all. My name is Rick.
It's this guy again. Go away.
Yeah, I'm Rick, man.
I don't care about your opinion. You're annoying.
Come on, kiddo, we're down. Stop trashing this movie.
You need to get a life too, you know that?
Can you realize it's a classic?
You're a dictator. Come on.
And it's only just a classic because I said it is.
How is it that you keep hacking into my videos? Come on.
Therefore, if I like it, you must like it.
You're a virgin, aren't you, huh, Rick? Come on.
Ha ha ha. My name's Rick.
Dude needs to get a life, folks. That's for sure. So anyway, this is without a doubt, perhaps, one of the worst sequels I've ever seen. And it's definitely the worst sequel I've seen from Disney Studios. So come on. I'm not going to list every single worthless, steaming pile of junk of a sequel, but let's just say, folks, I'm going to list some of them because I've seen a lot, and I do mean a lot of bad sequels over the years. I am a top secret agent after all, so yeah, here we go. Here we go. So yeah, here's some of the really awful sequels I've watched. Obviously, there's many things that these sequels do have in common. Bad direction, bad acting, bad writing, and overall a general pointlessness to it. And of course, none of these sequels add to anything that was already done. They were just made just because the first part was popular. None of these were ever intended to be a franchise. That's not a common thing here, folks. Yeah, I guess. None of these films were supposed to be made. It was never intended to be a sequel or a franchise or what have you. So yeah, these films were just made just because the other installment was popular. That's literally it. So yeah, I've seen some of the worst sequels ever in cinematic history. And all these films are horrible in so many ways. I've seen lots and lots of bad sequels. Oh boy. Ugh. Gives me a headache. And this one is definitely one of the absolute worst, folks. Folks, let it be on the show. These people make fun of it. I would love to see that. Yes, sir. That'd be so much fun in this. There's no real plot. The plot, if I'm calling it that, does not exist. It's just random stuff happening at random times. That's it. No more than that. So again, just like the other sequels I mentioned, this one serves no purpose. The dialogue for this film is horrendous. Man, the dialogue in this movie just came off. It was just quickly done. I mean, come on, who wrote the dialogue for this movie? A middle schooler? Come on. So yeah, there's nothing clever at all. I know it's supposed to be taken from the point of view of the mice. I get that. But, okay, and what? It doesn't do anything. Nothing happens really. They just tell some stories. What was the point? Really, what was the point of this? Come on!
We'll send cheesy movies, the worst ever made.
Quite literally everything in this film amounts to nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. There's no point of any of this. There's no point to anything in this story, if you want to call it a story. So it just felt like it was just thrown there just to waste time. So in other words, this entire thing just feels padded. What were they trying to accomplish here exactly? I don't know. So it just came off, it was watered down. So I guess people could enjoy it if you're like under 10 years old. Children under the age of 10 probably could enjoy it, I guess. Because That's the thing. Like, as I mentioned way earlier, folks. The thing is that this film was just strictly just for kids. Again, children under the age of 10. That's what they had in mind. The mindset for this film. So they're not gonna bother trying to come up with a coherent story or anything. I mean, I do like the idea that, okay, we get to see what happens after the happily ever after kind of an ending. What happens after the happily ever after? But this idea that they set up never gets explored into. So, promoting the idea to explore what's going to happen after the kind of ending happily ever after actually never gets explored to. So certain ideas are built up, but then again, never explored. So, again, with the whole relationship between the two, one sister and Cinderella, okay, the stepsister is actually a nice character. She's not such a mean person. But again, it never gets explored. Okay, they were trying to give that sister more personality, but again, never gets explored. So overall, his ideas are set up, but again, never gets explored to. Maybe they could have, explored the entire family. Maybe there's some family members that Cinderella never met before, and maybe they could, have an explanation of that. Maybe you could explore certain aspects of the family, maybe her step family, and maybe they could just go through the whole idea that Anastasia wants to introduce Cinderella into the elder family members whom they never met in the first movie. They could have, done something like that. So again, there was plenty of opportunities that this film could have gone into. There's plenty of stuff they could have easily gone into, but it was just left to a side. Kind of felt that when they were writing a script for this film, they were just throwing a bunch of random ideas into one script and didn't even bother. What I'm getting at is that it's just felt the script. The thing is, when you're reading the script, you have to rewrite the script a number of times. You can't just leave it at that. You have to do more than one draft. You can't just go off and make the movie with the first draft that you make. And that's how this came off. They just made the film with literally the very first draft they just made. They didn't bother rewriting anything. They didn't bother fixing up the grammar or anything, or any of the inconsistencies the film might have had. Nope. They didn't. Nothing was redone. Nothing was fixed up or tied up. So it just felt like the script was just done and just left it how it is. They didn't bother with the script. What I'm saying here is that the script itself just came off extremely lazy. So what I'm pointing out is that if they don't care, why should I? If they're not going to care, I don't think I should care at all, folks. No siree. I take no joy to bash this film because I do like Cinderella. If viewer is above 3 years old, this movie is not going to really interest you like at all because there's no drama, there's no conflict. I know it does attempt to have a special charm towards it, I guess, but it really doesn't help. And this film is really ugly to look at. It looks hideous just to look at it. And I mean, okay, it doesn't have the worst animation. I've seen animated films with worse animation than this. Okay, I'll give it that. But there's nothing remarkable about this. There's absolutely nothing remarkable. And I never ever want to watch this god awful film ever again. I can't believe I just spent about 30 minutes ranting about this movie. It's so bad. It's one of the absolute worst. Anyway, folks, it'll get an overall rating of a 2.9 out of 10. It gets a 2.9 out of 10 for me. And as always, thanks for watching, and take care. Until next time. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, don't mind me, folks, because I'm gonna be speaking to my therapist for a good while. So, yeah, see you much later.